Here's the Brandon Aiyuk thing. Check this out. So remember that deal that we saw from Amon-Ra St. Brown?
It's a nice deal.
Detroit Lions wide receiver. Just signed a new deal that on the surface, 4 years, $120 million. Now, it's interesting because I can do math. 4 years, $120 million. That is, checks notes, that's $30 million per year.
Right.
However, it's not $30 million
right.
per year. Even in this report, which comes from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.
Jeremy Fowler, ESPN.
Reported on NFL Live that the 49ers, quote, are in talks with Brandon Aiyuk on a contract extension and that the Lions wide receiver deal, Amon-Ra St. Brown's, is an example of the pay range for Aiyuk. Quote, I was told the benchmark here is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got $28 million a year on a 4-year from Detroit. The goal appears to be to try to beat that. Okay? Now, this is where NFL contracts can get a little confusing.
Yeah.
4 years, $120 million is not $28 million a year. However, Jeremy Fowler says he got $28 million a year. Here's the other thing. He didn't get either of those things.
Right.
He actually got a guarantee that is well less than that. $77 million guaranteed. But wait.
This is my favorite. And you knew I was going to go there.
Because that's not the guaranteed. That's the non-guaranteed guaranteed.
That's the potential guarantee.
Which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Don't use the word guaranteed if it's not actually guaranteed.
Correct.
It's guaranteed if he doesn't get hurt, but it's football and he might get hurt. So much of this is funny money. So I don't think the 49ers are scared of this, but I think prepare yourselves, 49er fans, for the idea of that umbrella average, the AAV for Brandon Aiyuk is going to be in that Amon-Ra, Tyreek Hill neighborhood.
And the real number for Amon-Ra is the GTD at signing, the guaranteed at signing, which is the actual guarantee, which is $34.666 million. That is the actual guarantee, which is the signing bonus, the salary this year, the salary next year, and then the option bonus for next year as well. So what Amon-Ra is going to get, no matter what, is $34.666. And if he lives out the life of his contract, then he could get the 120 and he could get the 77, but the real number is the 34.666. So if Aiyuk signs a contract that is Amon-Ra like 4 years, 120, or maybe it's a little bit more, the number to really look at is not only the total guarantee, but the guarantee at signing, because that's the number that's going to hit the Niners assuredly.
Quote, he doesn't have to be the highest paid in the league, but he's done enough and he's accomplished enough in that offense to where he's probably going to need to be at that number or higher.
Okay. I believe it.
Yep.
I believe it. And if he is at that number or higher, then what does that mean for other members of the 49ers who are either already paid, wanting to be paid, or wanting to be paid more, which is just about everybody else on that offense?
It's everybody.
Of course.
It's everybody.
It's always everybody.
Well, here's the thing in life. Let's take the 49ers outside of the 49ers for a second. It is interesting to me whenever we talk, and we can get into the McCaffrey thing if you want right here. It's interesting to me when we talk about money and sports, and all of a sudden when someone plays well, we all get hot and bothered because they're, quote, underpaid. And I'm like, do you know how many people in this world are underpaid? Do you know how
You're looking at one right now.
There's one. You are too.
I'm looking in the mirror right now, but go ahead.
There's a mirror behind me? Anyway.
Anyhow. Yeah, we all are.
But why? Why? it doesn't work like that. In other words, just because you perform well doesn't mean you get to suddenly go change the rules on an annual basis. And so, yes, you'd love to reward people when they do well, and many of us do. Like, I know you and I, we've got bonuses in our contract.
Yep.
And we've gotten some, here in the last couple of years.
Yep.
Which is great. That's wonderful. That's one way to do it. But for instance, we can use that example for anybody out there. Okay? Let's say you got a bonus thing in your contract and you hit your bonus. That means you are performing. You're performing very well. In the middle of that contract, do we get to suddenly go to the bosses and go, got to redo this sucker? Got to redo this sucker because I'm outperforming my contract. And this goes two places for me. I actually would back NFL players on that point because the team has the ability to get out of the deal if you're underperforming. So yes, in that respect, I think it goes both ways. Here's where, in McCaffrey's example, I'm going to push back on the Bay Area-wide narrative that has developed in the last 3 days, even though there is a national report out there that McCaffrey is not skipping OTAs because of money. He is not skipping OTAs because of money. But a narrative has grown, this is ridiculous. We got to redo his contract. Christian deserves more. Why? Because he's really, really good. Really good. Here's the problem for Christian. It's not the 49ers' fault that the running back market is what it is. They didn't do that. Life did. Them's the breaks. Your job in this world is what it is, and the going rate for it is what it is. And when you're the best at it, all that your company can do is pay you to be the best at it, and Christian already is. Sorry, he's a running. Do you know how many running backs, high-level running backs, from Saquon Barkley to Derrick Henry to Tony Pollard to Alvin Kamara?
Austin Eckler is probably the best comp out there.
But those guys have all signed new deals since Christian signed his deal, and he's still the highest paid running back in the game. Normally, when it's your turn, you become the new highest paid guy. Then the next guy becomes the highest paid guy. Nope, not at running back. No one can catch Christian because he's the best and is being paid as the best, and that's the way it goes.
Right, and that's the way it goes, but it's different when you're Christian McCaffrey because you are one of one, because you are not only the best running back in football, and he had the second most carries last year, but you are probably one of the three best receiving running backs in football. Only Alvin Kamara and one other running back last year had more catches than Christian McCaffrey did. So not only are you a top 2 runner, but you're a top 3 catcher, and you are the most important offensive player outside your quarterback on your team, and your team fancies itself a Super Bowl contending team, and they are because of you. And since you've come to this team, your team has gone from good to being unbelievably good and being one of the best offenses in football. So what you're saying is not wrong. He's already at the top of the market, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve more than what he's getting, because he's worth more to this team than Debo. Debo makes more. He's worth more to the team than Aiyuk. Aiyuk is going to make more. He's worth more to the team than George Kittle. And I don't know if Kittle makes more, but it's probably pretty damn close.
I'll look it up.
And he's a tight end. So for McCaffrey to be, and I don't know if he's feeling this way, but he's not at voluntary OTAs, which is not his bit. He normally shows up to everything, and he balls out, and he works hard, and he's a team guy. And he looks at his salary and he's thinking, $14 million, and I'm 28 years old and I don't have any guaranteed money on my deal. So really, if something bad were to happen to Christian McCaffrey, the team could cut him and it wouldn't be that much of a hit for them, and he would just be done. So I don't begrudge him for maybe privately wanting more than what he's getting.
By the way, let's say again, we don't know that that's the case, and there is a report that the skipping of voluntary OTAs was not about money.
Right.
However, could something still come up this offseason? Sure.
And I wonder what it would be about if it's not about money.
Well, he's about to get married.
Okay.
And so maybe they're registering.
Sure. Yeah. And he's worried about, he's out there doing a cake tasting and they're checking out venues and all the rest of it.
You want to know what's crazy?
I've been married a couple times.
Yeah. Maybe
I love having this conversation
maybe he wants us
with
to
you.
stick. I don't know. Anyway,
I wish I could be mad at you, but you and I are in the same boat. You're rowing on one side, I'm rowing on the other.
Well, here's what I haven't heard anybody say. I don't want Christian at voluntary OTAs. Why are we worried about this? I don't want him running around out there in May. That's stupid. If I was the Niners, I'd have told him to stay home. Don't Christian what do we need him here this week for?
Set the tone.
Oh, God.
What's Isaac Garendo doing right now? He's running around without a role model.
Learning and getting the reps because someone got out of his way.
But not learning from McCaffrey.
What is McCaffrey going to do?
Set the tone,
This
CMC.
is how you put one leg in front of another?
This is how you approach OTAs. This is how you strap it on and get out there and do the work.
I don't want him there. I'm thrilled that he's not there. Let's go back to your statement. Every single thing you said was accurate, but all of it was emotional. Sorry, that's not how it works. I don't like this.
It's about leverage. You're right.
This stinks, but the fact that Christian means so much to the 49ers does not amount to a hill of beans when it comes to money. And the fact that he catches passes really well, sorry, you're good at your job. Nowhere in the running back description does it say, we'll pay you extra if you also catch the ball. That's part of being a running back for most running backs. Some do it better than others. And again, you can't pay Christian more than being number one, and he already is. Now,
you can make him more of a number one.
You could.
I mean,
they might.
And Max Crosby just got his deal ripped up, and they threw more money at him, and he's not even the best guy at his position.
Right, but that's also, first of all, he's 26 years old.
Yeah.
He also plays, sorry to break this all to you, a more premium position in the NFL. He already makes more than Christian. He already does, and now he makes more than Christian.
You could argue Christian's more important to his team than Max is to their team based on, but relative to what the team is.
That doesn't matter, though. That's not what you get paid for. You're talking in the world of fairness. And so you're right. That's what would be fair. Since when is the NFL fair?
It's not.
It's not. And you get I love that everyone's like, hey, fairness. Well, listen. Understand that the CBA didn't allow it, but if life were fair, Brock Purdy wouldn't be playing for $900,000. But that's how it works. That's how it works because that's what's in the CBA, and that's when you were picked and you overperformed your contract. Good for you. Sit there and wait till it's your turn. And I'm not trying to be this hard ass.
No, and you're always pro player.
Well, right. And so again, that's why I do think that that a player gets to match on their end what a team does as far as guarantees. The team doesn't need to guarantee you when you don't play well. So when you do play well, sure, maybe you can ask for more. My point in saying this, though, is that Christian is already making that. He's already the highest paid player at his position and in an unusual way. A bunch of guys who are at the top of the market have been signed since he signed his deal, and no one's caught him or passed him. So he's being paid very well. Could the Niners do a Max Crosby thing, which, by the way, was kind of chump change, to be honest with you, in the grand scheme of how this all works? They gave Max $7 million over 2 years and added it to his deal. Cool. In the world of a $23 million per year deal that's a multi-year deal, that's not a lot. So that was nice of the Raiders.
Right.
Could the 49ers do a nice? Sure, do a nice.
Well, for McCaffrey, he's looking at 2 more years at $14 million a year. So he's got 2 years and $28 million, none of which is guaranteed, I believe.
The Niners are actually on the hook for 12 more per year because a lot of the 14 per year is baked into what guarantees were happening at the beginning, with the Panthers already paid him.
And also the voidable year that they've tacked on because he restructured already for them.
So could the Niners guarantee some things? Could they add a couple of bucks? Sure, that'd be great. But this whole rip it up, get brand new, sign him till he's 32, 2 years before he's a free agent? No. If I'm the Niners, nope. You're a running back. You're a battering ram. Not my fault, but your chances of you suffering a very bad injury are a little high. And so while we're sitting here, you do have to remember what the Niners are trying to do. Everybody wants them to sign everybody. Just sign Aiyuk and give Purdy $55 million a year. And what do you mean you're going to let Debo go? Why would you do that? And yes, give McCaffrey money too. Look, I'm sorry. That's not going to happen, and it can't happen.
Well, I thought we were of the mind that it was cap schmap, is what I've heard from you. That
it is cap schmap.
So then
this isn't about the cap.
Just tack on a few extra million for CMC, a guy who's done everything you've needed him to do. He led the league in touches last year.
It is always able to be manipulated when you are stuck in a spot with certain players. The 49ers are in a spot, though, where they have so many premium players that they don't have to pay money they don't have to pay. And that's my only point today. I wish Christian McCaffrey would make $1 billion a year. He is phenomenal. He's the best player at his position. And yes, you could argue he's the most important player on the 49ers, all true. But I also know that every job in this world has a going rate. And all you can do when you're the best in the world at what you do is get paid as the best in the world at what you do. And you can't get mad at your employer. Again, the 49ers did not set the running back market. Life did. The fact that running backs get old fast and their bodies get worn out fast is not the 49ers' fault. And so they're not going to pay for that. They shouldn't, they can't, they won't.
They should, they can, and they had better, because you're going to get to a spot where, whether it's at the end of this next year, Christian McCaffrey is a guy who is still playing as a premium running back. And I know running backs get old. They don't all get old at the same time. And McCaffrey at 27 has not shown any signs of slowing down. And he's coming off a year where he didn't get hurt. And he had injury concerns in the past. And that was a big question mark when the Niners traded a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth to get him. Everyone who was critical of the deal thought, well, guy's been hurt a lot. Maybe that was an overpay. Maybe it was an overpay. 4 picks for one guy. And then he went out and balled out and didn't miss a game and led the league in rushing and was third among running backs in receiving. And so I'm not saying that he wants to get his deal reworked, but it is curious that he's not at OTAs for the first time. But again, I doubt it's because he's out there doing cake tastings and looking at wedding venues.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I don't want him at OTAs. Good God. That's not a risk-reward game I'd even want to play with Christian McCaffrey. Put him in bubble wrap. We'll see in August. Why would we even care what he's doing in May? And I can only go by the report that's out there from a reputable spot that this is not about money. Could there be a conversation to come? Maybe. I don't think it's going to be a firm one. Yeah, if the Niners want to toss a couple bucks at him, toss a couple bucks at him. But I want to remind everyone this idea that, hey, Christian is that important to the team, so he should be paid that way. Nope, not really. Because that's not how it works. You're not going to give him, who's more important to the Niners, Nick Bosa or Christian McCaffrey?
It's Bosa.
Okay.
And Bosa's already paid.
Right, but he's paid twice as much.
Right.
So, he's not.
Well, that's just what that position commands.
But that's the point.
But he's not your typical running back, so I don't think that you should look at him. No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's just the best one.
He's more receiver than some of your receivers, and he's the number one running back in terms of carries, so he's not. He's way more important than Deebo Samuel. And forget what position Deebo plays.
Tough cookies.
And Deebo is probably going to be gone at the end of the year. And if you had to choose between Deebo and Christian McCaffrey,
irrelevant.
You'd rather have Christian McCaffrey.
Of course.
Right.
And irrelevant when it comes to money.
No, it's completely relevant.
It's irrelevant.
I'm not saying that he deserves Deebo money.
What's your comp? What's your comp? Give me the NFL comp.
To Christian McCaffrey?
No. The NFL comp to the idea of you're great. You're so great at your position. In fact, you do things that others at your position don't do. So we are going to pay you as if you are 2 players. Josh Allen runs. Should we pay him as a quarterback and a running back? That's not happening.
Well, he doesn't run as much as running backs.
Jimmy Graham did this years ago. It's like I'm a tight end, but you line me up as a receiver.
Lamar Jackson would be the closest comp for what he runs as many times as he runs.
Not even the highest paid QB.
No, but he got the highest guaranteed number last year.
Last year?
I think he made like $55 million last year guaranteed.
I mean, Deshaun Watson's at $240 guaranteed.
Well, that's Cleveland.
Well,
I mean, they're
Russell
morons.
Wilson was at more guaranteed than that.
Christian McCaffrey is one of one. And I don't think that you can look at him and use comps for Christian McCaffrey. If I'm McCaffrey's agent, there is no comp for McCaffrey.
Then he ain't going to play this year if you play it like that. I'm just telling you.
Well, he's going to play because he's got 2 more years in his deal and he's a football player.
There's no team in history that's like you're so good and you do extra things that not everyone at your position does. Therefore, we're going to pay you like you're 2 people. You
don't pay him like he's 2 people, but
that's
you don't.
What you're asking
no,
for.
I'm not.
You keep
I'm just
bringing up
saying,
him catching the ball.
All I'm saying, Mark, is you don't use the running back market exclusively as his comp. And if I'm McCaffrey's representation, that is where I would look at this and say, you're misguided because he's 3rd among running backs in catches and he's 2nd in carries. So you want to use the guy like a player and a half, which is what they do. Then you need to pay him like he's a player and a half.
We did this with Debo. Debo is a running back and a wide receiver.
Well, this is different.
And the Niners went, fine, we'll pay you like a really good receiver. Your position is your position. I understand everything that you're saying.
No, I get it.
But there's zero comp for an NFL team actually putting finances toward that idea. None.
My thinking is that there is no comp for what he does and what he brings to your offense.
Then that means you're the best. Then you're awesome. We'll pay you like the best.
Right.
At your position.
At any position.
If we really wanted to do what you're saying, he should be getting 35 a year.
No, but he should be getting more than 12.
He's that important. He's getting 16.
If you paid him like a receiver, he would be like 38th among receivers. It's a joke.
No, but that